I will call the regular meeting of the Irmo Town Council to order, and I will recognize Mayor Pro Tem Walker to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear Lord, bless this council in our meeting tonight so that we can come up with things that make your lives safe, make our community safe, and make your will be done in the town of Irmo. Amen. Amen.
Next item on the agenda is the reading of the minutes from July 16th. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes as written?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
And any discussion? None. All in favor of approving of the minutes as written, do so with show of hands. And next item is administrative briefing. Mr. Brown, anything you wanted to add to that?
Yes, sir. I believe everybody has a copy of the new magazine from the Irmo Chamber of Commerce. Just get a rough idea what our money bought for us. There you go. And I'd also like to introduce Mr. Hardy Horn. He is the area representative for advanced disposal, and he'd like to just say a few words. Has to do regards to our garbage changing to 1 day a week.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Appreciate you having me here tonight. My name is Hardy Horn. I am the Municipal Marketing and Governmental Affairs Rep for Advanced Disposal for North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and part of Georgia. So I wanted to come by today and tell you that we realized we made some mistakes last week with a reroute that affected your garbage service here in Irmo. We have converted a large portion of Lexington County, as well as Batesburg, part of Chapin, Prosperity, and several of our other smaller towns, and we did it all at one time. It was a huge undertaking. We thought we had all the problems ironed out, but unfortunately we had some slip-ups last week. But I wanted to let you know that we have since corrected those problems, addressed them. Hopefully this week you will see a much better service than you saw last week with the misses that we had. But I wanted to come by and say I apologize to the citizens of Irmo. We are doing our best to get this thing under control, and if you have any issues going forward, feel free to call us.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Back a couple of years ago when we went to a different schedule, y'all produced a little card that we could, it kind of keeps us on track on which day the recycling is picked up.
Yes.
Would it be possible to have something similar to that? So we'll know which Wednesday to put the green card out.
We can do that. It may work out that we may want to do it toward the fall of the year so we can pick up with, going in the fall and then with the first of the year. But yes, we can do that.
Okay.
It may not be in a magnetic form. It may be a little different form, but it can be something you can go by.
Okay, very good. And I know you're been up to years in alligators here trying to make the change, so it's not something that I would expect by next week, but just if you keep that in mind, I think it would be beneficial.
We will definitely address it. And yes, we have been up to our ears in alligators. You're right. Anything else? Well, thank you for your time. I just wanted to stop by and give you that information.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here.
That's all I have.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Brown on the administrative briefing? Anything? If not, next item on the agenda is receipt of communications, and item A is presentation by Keep the Midlands Beautiful, and I guess if y'all would like to come forward.
Good evening, Council. It's with great pleasure. I'm Jacqueline Bluck. I'm the Executive Director with Keep the Midlands Beautiful. And this is my board chair, Harold Crawford. It's with great pleasure that we present to you tonight a check for $4,200. This is a Think Green grant that I wrote to Lowe's. It's part of Keep America Beautiful. And we are giving you this check to go towards the playground set at the new Irmo Park. Harold and I are lucky that we get to be part of the Irmo community. Harold's daughter just graduated from Irmo High School, and we are both members of the Lake Murray Irmo Rotary Club, so we do call this area home. So we're looking forward to seeing this playground set go into the new park, and Keep the Midlands Beautiful is just really happy that we get to present this to you tonight and look forward to seeing it be erected. And this is part of the Keep America Beautiful Lowe's Think Green grant. So we have a big check, and of course we know that would be hard to go through the drive-through.
Thank you.
Have you come down and get a picture?
Okay.
Is it all right to approach the...
Oh, we'll come down and get checks. We'll come down and get checks.
Now,
Great.
And sir, there's a little one.
Al's got a camera there.
Thank you, sir.
I hope he's got one in his lens.
Thank you.
And also, Jake Moore's also on our board too. I wanted to let you know that.
Yes. Jake's everywhere.
And we also have under City Communications, recognition of the Irmo Little League Girls Softball, and I think Chief Buck was going to...
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Girls, you want to come up? We have before you tonight, Council, select members of the Irmo Little League Girls Softball team. They are South Carolina State champions. They represented the state in the regional softball tournament in Georgia, where they played with distinction. Unfortunately, they did not win there, but they represented our state well. And here before you tonight are Lauren Colvin, Emily Gass, Morgan McMahon, Abby Stevenson, Delaney Landry, Shelby Lewis, and Hannah Putlock. They are coached by, gentlemen, come on. Can't hide it back forever. Coaches are Pat McMahon, Leland Colvin, and Doug Putlock. And I would like just to recognize their hard work. Joe, you get the paper, you got to turn around.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the ribbons. How cute with the little palmetto tree on it.
Hold it, I think we have a photo moment out here, so let everybody get the pictures that they need.
You got some miles out there.
Show her your socks. Look at their socks.
Oh, y'all are so cool. I like the ribbons too. Very nice.
Okay, Ms. Thomas, don't interrupt the photo.
Congratulations,
All right,
ladies.
y'all get y'all pictures? Okay, good. Hold on.
One more.
Girls do it better. See, softball team.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And one little short thing I wanted to, under received communication from council, I'd received a letter from, or not a letter, I guess you call it a postcard, from DHEC last week, that they're going to be working at BC component sites to start removing some of the dirt there and contaminated dirt, and to get that place ready for use by Slough Shoals. Just if anybody wanted to know, they just wanted to let council know and let us know what's going on down there, even though it's not actually in our town, it's right there in the area.
It's close.
Yeah. Next item is...
Well, we're under communication. Is the chief, is our fire chief here?
Yeah, I think
I know it's probably the wrong order or whatever, but would you mind giving me an opinion on the Lake Murray Oakerstrut site?
I can. I wrote a letter to the town earlier, but I didn't have to.
You did?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have it?
you should have it on...
I emailed you a copy.
Huh?
I emailed it to everybody. About 5:30 this evening.
Okay, thank you, Chief. I appreciate it. I didn't get it.
It was late.
And let's see.
Yeah.
Next item is presentation by citizens. This is for items that are on our agenda for tonight. So any citizen that would like to address us on any issue that's on the agenda, now is the time to do so. The only thing we ask is just give us your name and address for the record, and then also which item that you'll be addressing. So anyone who would like to address the council.
Is this anything concerning the Oakerstrut?
Yeah, we have two things on the agenda tonight. One is location and one is something else. Closing streets and then cash or money. But
Is this the proper time to?
Yeah. Just tell us which one of the...
Councilwomen. I'm Jonathan Steer. I reside at 1266 Burrowmar. It's a Columbia zip code address, but it's right down the street. I'd like to share my feelings with you about the Oakerstrut. Steer Supply Company is a 67-year-old family business, and it built its second location in Irmo in 1986. There have been good years and some not so good years. But every year we paid our property tax, business license, sometimes with great personal sacrifice. In 1986, there weren't many businesses located on Highway 60 or Newberry Avenue as we knew it then. It was Buddy Lorick's SO Station and a few others. Now there are more than 30 tax-paying businesses whose lifeblood is the moving traffic in front of our stores. The thought of a road blockage is not only frightening, but financially devastating. It is unacceptable. The last time Oakerstrut held an event on Highway 60, the police denied me access to my business via a blockade at St. Andrews Road on a normal business day. I told the officer my business was located halfway down the street and I need to be there. The police officer sternly told me, "Sir, the best thing you can do is get back in your car and turn around." What a great community builder, pitting the local business people against their own police department, the very folks who pay their salaries. As council members, isn't it one of your basic responsibilities to provide harmony in the community? The Oakerstrut does bring people into the community for a couple days, but what a price. Lost revenues for the folks who are paying their bills every day, hard feelings with our own law enforcement, and extremely aggravated commuters on their way to work and back home. It just doesn't make sense to me, and it's truly unacceptable. If it's okay, I'd like to submit that document to the council. That's appropriate. I also like to submit 3 copies of 3 checks. This year, Steer Supply paid the town of Irmo $4,325.71 in business fees. Paid Lexington County $1,075 for property equipment taxes. It paid the county treasurer $33,846 in property taxes. We've been doing that since 1983. If it pleases the council, I'd like to bring this forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to address council?
I'm Ray Bryson. I own Hope Davis Tire down here. We were involved with the Merchant Association back in '04 in working with the council in getting the Okra Strut moved from that location. And back at that point in time, we have probably 7 merchants that were active in that. And we had to take it to a point where we had to get a lawyer, we had to get an accountant, we did a lot of work. But at the end, the council did the right thing and moved that to the Carolina Ribs place. And then after that, subsequently, a couple years to the Park Field. But basically, there's no question about the harm that's done to the business community down through here. And not only the business guys, but the employees. For them to lose 2 days' pay has to be considered. And tonight, I would just remind the council that every elected official's first obligation is to protect the person and the property of individuals and to pursue a path with good intentions, but at the same time cause a lot of harm is not appropriate. So I hope we avoid having conflict again. We just ask that the council not go down that path. But just to give you a couple quick numbers, back in '04, the 7 of us were about to lose roughly $130,000 for those 2 days, and our attorney made council aware of that number, plus payroll for those 2 days, our people, just so they would understand the scope that, you know, we would be looking for council to cover that cost. So now with some 20-something odd businesses down here, it would be substantially greater. But I ask for the council to consider that exposure. But, anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And anyone else who would like to address council? And again, just name and address for the record and then what item you're speaking to.
Mr. Mayor and council, it's been a long time. Let me start by saying thank you for all you guys have done these last 10 years, because it's been 10 years since I stood here and did this again last time. And a lot has changed. The town's better. It's always been business friendly, but we got a lot more business on Lakemore Boulevard. Back then we had about 30,000 cars a day. I think it's probably pushing 60 now. He was right. We had about 10, 12 businesses. Now there's probably 25 or 30 that's affected. I kept all the information from the last time we did this. And, you know, we had complaints back then from merchants. They were angry, from motorists and happy they couldn't get to the homes. The detours were a pain. Some groups, festival law says the festival was catering to outside people who were taking the money out of town. But that's beside the point. I think what's important is when I came here 10 years ago, this town was the most friendly town that I've ever worked with. Now, I looked at my business cards in my little pack that I kept with all this, and I had 6 locations back then. I got 12 now. So I've dealt with 6 other municipalities, and I've never found another town that was as easy to work with as Irmo. Never. And Kim was a big part of that. And I tell everybody that. But to think that we've come so far and we've grown, and to think that we want to step back and try to turn the clock back and go back to causing irreparable harm, lost revenues to all these businesses, to their employees, is mind-boggling that you even consider it again. And he was right. Back then we had just a few Lake Murray Boulevard Merchant Association, which I started. I think now we've doubled that. Easy. But let's state some facts that I think is important. The facts go back that we have more than twice the number of businesses we had back then. All the businesses will be affected negatively. All those employees of all those businesses will be affected negatively. We have twice the traffic. So if there's 50,000 people coming out the road a day, or 40, whatever it is, all 50,000 is going to be detoured or inconvenienced. In closing, well, let's don't forget, I don't know what the letter from the fire department said. I can't imagine what the police department says, but it has got to impede their capability. It's got to impede an ambulance emergency. Okay? So keeping all that in mind is, of my opinion, and I do speak for Bob Brandy and some of the others that aren't here tonight, talking to Joe Tobyville, some of them can't make it, that in this day and time, the suggestion to put it back on a busy road like that is absurd. But you guys are put in a position to make these decisions. So I hope you make a good one. Thank you for letting me speak.
Excuse me, Mike, you said spoke to us 10 years ago, right? On this exact same subject.
Yeah.
10 years ago. So what are you doing to keep your hair so black? And everybody else is getting gray. I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
Oh, you eating something? You're not eating that Max on Main, are you?
No.
Okay.
Thank you for the compliment. It's gonna die.
And anyone else who would like to address council?
Yes, sir. Thank you, council, for letting us speak tonight. I didn't really come prepared with numbers and facts and everything, but I'm Dave Clark. I recognize two of you from my background. I'd like to thank you for that. I also would like to say, I thought we had this thing settled a few years ago, and that we all determined and agreed that Lake Murray Boulevard is not the place for this. And just for a couple instances, yes, there's loss of wages for employees. Yes, there's loss of revenue for business owners. But what really sticks, excuse me, in my mind was, what if we have emergencies? What if we stay open and we have emergencies? How do we get Brian's people down there? I had gentlemen at the front door, like pretty much use my restaurant as a toilet during the entire orchestra. There's not much sales. The sales dropped. Mr. Younginer, when I first opened, I think it was 10 years ago, told me I would double my sales. That was wrong, and it never got any better. But the worst thing was kids, high school age, standing at the front door, telling my wife, "Go to hell, get out of the way," B word, profanity, and that's what we had to endure. So I just want to make sure I put that in mind before you go to bed tonight. Thank you very much.
What's your business?
I'm Dave, Bellacino's Pieces and Grams.
Oh, yeah, we've all been there.
And I'd also like to know how Mike keeps his hair so dark.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Mark Hall. I'm one of the owners of Precision Tune Auto Care. I appreciate you letting us have the opportunity to voice our opinions here. I too would like to echo things that our fellow business owners have said. There's really not much I can add other than I'd like to point out that in the town of Irmo, unusual to some of the other locations, on a Friday and Saturday in particular, we do a substantial portion of our weekly sales on that one day. It seems that we've developed this particular location as a very commuter-heavy location where Monday through Thursday, we do a fair amount of business, but Fridays and Saturday in particular is a very large chunk of our week, and to lose a piece of that right now with the economy like it is tough. So I'd like to echo what they say and hope you reconsider and make a decision accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. And anyone else? Seeing none, we will go to next business. Next item, unfinished business. Item A is third and final reading of ordinance 1301 to amend the Irmo zoning ordinance. This has to do with parking, storage, use of vehicles and equipments in residential zones. This is third and final reading, and I would just add for council, we can make a motion, we can second it, we can discuss it, vote for it or vote it down, or if there's not an interest in that, we can just not make a motion or not make a second, and it can die that way, and then we can start back over at a later date with something else if they choose. But is there a motion for third and final reading of ordinance 1301? Hearing none, then that motion will die for lack of a motion, and we will move on to item B, third and final reading of ordinance 1307 to annex property located at 1125 Salem Church Road, and this is the property back behind Rose Oak subdivision, and this is the addition that they're needing in order to do their next phase. Is there a motion for third and final reading?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
And any discussion? I think we kind of went through and discussed everything on that.
Well, there's one thing that I want to say, but it's not necessarily discussion. But that ordinance, Mr. Moore and I are going to rewrite.
Okay.
This isn't from lack of interest. It's just not well.
Yeah, we need something.
A lot of problems with that.
There's a lot of problems. Yeah.
On item B,
Yeah.
the zoning on this will be residential, single-family residential. Okay. I just wanted that to be part of the record.
It's Rose Oak, right?
Right, it's Rose Oak.
Okay.
Phase 3.
They've done a good job of bringing that back
Oh, yeah.
to life.
Is there any more discussion? All in favor then of third and final reading of ordinance 1307 to annex that property into the town, and as Councilman Hoot said, it does have a single-family residential, and it will be their next phase, so to speak. Do so with show of hands. Next item is the approval to name the town park and Memorial Park, so we can have a motion for that. Is there a motion to name it Memorial Park?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second.
And any discussion?
Yes, I'll start it off. The idea here is to name it Memorial Park in honor of our first responders, as well as a memorial. We got some great folks out there, the first responders, like we got Chief Sonnefield out here. If someone wants to do something in his honor, they could do it in our park. Plus, we got many public officials who have passed away, and we can, this park will be in their memorial for that. We got the police chief. Somebody might want to do something in his honor.
But you got to be dead.
No, it's honor, not memorial. Many municipalities across the nation have memorial parks, and so I think it's a good way to show our appreciation to our first responders and other public figures in our town. It can always change, but I think we need to go ahead and give it a name at this time.
Well, I liked another name, but that's all right. But I really did like the Community Park of Irmo. And the only reason I liked it is because we could distinguish it from this park, which is known as the Irmo Park, and call it the Community Park, which would be at least sound different. And I like the word community, but I'm not opposed to memorial, but I did like the community idea first.
Well, I like Memorial Park, I like Community Park, but I'm throwing out here, how about Oak Park? We have a lot of oak trees over there. To be perfectly honest with you, we've done our painstaking best to save a lot of those trees over there. I mean, we actually went through as far as marking the trees on our GPS map, and that was a big holdup at the beginning of this project, is to identify all the old grandfathered oak trees out there. If we name the park Oak Park, there's nothing to say that we can't have memorials in the park to honor our veterans and honor our first responders, or have features in the park to honor those folks. And it's certainly the community park for a gathering spot. I don't see why we couldn't certainly do it as a community park. But I'm not opposed to Memorial Park, neither am I opposed to community park. That's the third one I could throw out there if we're going to vote on a name. I'd like to put that in the hat too, calling it Oak Park.
So Memorial Community Oak Park.
So far.
I'll second that.
What if we find an acronym? Memorial Community. Never mind.
As far as mine, I like community park as well, just because it sounds like a community and it to me brings people in. And even the name Oak, I'm happy with that too. I don't know how many oak trees are there as opposed to whatever other kind of tree. And the only thing about the memorial park is, and this is just my personal, where I grew up in Burlington, we did have a memorial park, but it was a cemetery. And every time I hear that name, that's what I think of, just because of that. Not too long ago, I visited Alamance Memorial Park, and it just, still makes me think of that cemetery. As opposed to, like, community makes me, think of everybody, I don't say coming into the park, but everybody coming there and using it. But we have a motion for memorial in a second. Now we could make an amendment and amend it to
vote on all,
community, and if it passes, it passes. If it don't, it don't. And then do Oak, and if it passes, it passes. And then if it don't, then we're back to that. Or
Harvey may have one too.
No, I don't have an opinion either way for memorial or community park. I had not given any thoughts to Oak Park. I just thought that it needed to be, and I don't mean this as any kind of derogatory, but a very simple, nondescript, generic type name that could go for anything, because there's going to be a lot of different things go on there. No one item.
Absolutely.
And I wouldn't want it named something that, gave a tag to it that other things wouldn't seem to fit. And I think we are looking for it to be a primo spot in the community, and a lot of work's gone into it, and more will be.
so do you want to make a motion for amend it? Well, you just amend it. You'd make a motion to amend it from memorial to say community.
Okay.
If we get a second, we'll discuss it. If we don't, then we don't. If we do, then we'd have to either get another amendment to Oak, and then we could discuss it, and then we could start voting up or down.
Yeah, I want to make that motion.
So you're going to amend it to
The community park of Irmo. And the reason, I don't want it confused with the Irmo Town Park, which is what everybody calls it. So if it's a community park, that's what it would be called, is a community park. So I thought that was better.
Well, I'll second that, and let's see. Let me make a note here. So we've amended it to Community Park of Irmo.
And in this community park, we can have memorials, we can have honor.
Anything.
Anything we want inside this park.
It's harder to be a community than it is to be a town. And I think that's what we strive for, is the community feeling. At least that's what I do. Be a good neighbor here.
Any more discussion?
No.
So the community park as opposed to town park.
The community park of Irmo.
Okay.
Any discussion? So we want to vote on that? We're ready to vote on that?
On the amendment.
On the amendment, yeah.
We vote on the amendment first, then the other?
Yeah, we'd vote on that, and if it, say, passes or doesn't, then if Barry wants to make another one, we can do that. So all in favor then?
Let me ask a question about this now.
Yeah.
So you don't want to honor the first responders?
I honor them every day. Every time I see them, I do. And I think there should be something in that park that does honor them. My problem with the memorial is it means you're dead. And we don't have that many dead that I know of. I think there should be something to commemorate their service. But
I don't want them to have to die to do it.
well, if you make it a memorial, they dead, you know, but I do think we need something that says who we're thankful to, the reason we're here and safe and sound. But it makes me think of a cemetery, just like ours. So that's why I wanted to try the community thing. But I don't oppose your name.
That's fine. It'd be the living part.
Any more discussion?
No, I'm fine.
So Irmo Community Park is
The
what you're saying?
community park of Irmo.
The Community Park of Irmo.
Because I'm trying not to let people confuse it with Irmo Town Park. So if we call it the community, you know.
Well, even if you, I won't say call it the community park in Irmo, I don't know, there's people like me that's just going to call it Irmo Community Park, because I think it almost rolls better.
It'll be the new park for about 5 years. And then
But now, you can also amend it to Irmo Community Park.
We got an amendment, we got to vote on the
Yeah,
amendment
but
first.
we can amend it before we even vote on that. We can still amend it again, or amend it again. To that, if you choose. Or not, we can just vote on
You
this.
said Irmo Community Park, right?
Well, no, she said
Community
Community
Park
Park, remember.
Oh, Community Park, okay.
although it could be written anyway, I just thought, trying to distinguish it from that one.
Can we say Irmo's Community Owned Park?
Yeah, we could.
You know, I would rescind my motion. No, let's move forward.
So we got the Community Park of Irmo we're going to vote on, unless we want to change it to Irmo
No.
Park, or Irmo Community Park. Or
I like the community park of Irmo.
okay, well, that's what we're voting on. So all in favor then of Community Park of Irmo, do so with show of hands.
Thank you, Paul. That was very kind.
Now, so is the approval has been amended from Memorial Park to Community Park of Irmo. Any discussion about that? All in,
What to call it, Irmo Community Oak Park, or just I'll throw that out there? To make sure we don't get confused with our old park?
well, I don't think Community Park will get confused with, quote, Irmo Park. I would think they'd be able to keep those apart, but any more discussion?
No, but the arboretum that Jake's going to build in the park could be called the Oaks.
Okay.
I would sure like to do an arboretum, but with as many trees as we left, I don't think we have room to do. We will.
You'd probably have
I'd sure like to do it.
I think you'd have to do it in between them, yeah.
We got plenty of trees.
So, are we ready to vote then on the approval from Memorial Park to Community Park of Irmo, and that's, are we all in favor then of calling it the Community Park of Irmo, do so with show of hands. So that's what it will be.
Great, so we got a name of our park. Irmo Community Park.
Well, nobody said they'd give us $1 million or $2 million, so we can't name it. I know, I thought they might.
Alrighty, next item on the agenda is approval of the budget amendment in the amount of $26,000 for the...
Whoa.
About that. Wrong one.
D. Skip D.
I made a check by that one, I'll make a check by C. All right. The approval of the agreement between Palmetto Health and the town of Irmo for donations and naming rights in the new park. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
This is...
Mr. Walker, you...
I would love to elaborate on this. Now that we have a name for our new community park in Irmo, South Carolina, we have, from the onset of this project, we had said that this will be a community park built on donations from throughout the community, meaning from different organizations, from different people, willing to sponsor different features of this park. In this park, we're going to have walking trails, we're going to have an amphitheater, we're going to have a children's playground, we're going to have a picnic shelter that's going to be a picnic shelter on steroids. It's going to be huge. It's going to have enough space on this picnic shelter to have multiple functions going on at the same time, as well as a 500-seat amphitheater with professional stage. And yes, we will have the orchestra in this new park. We may not make it this year, but we will have it in future years, so there won't be a controversy of, we have to close Lake Murray Boulevard or do anything like that to have our annual function. But in that vein, Palmetto Health Systems is going to donate $120,000 for the construction of the Irmo Amphitheater in this new park. And for that they're going to have the opportunity to name the stage in the amphitheater after the Palmetto Health System. And we're just ecstatic about the opportunity of this community organization and the town of Irmo working together to build this park and to actually contribute such a large sum of money. So we have an agreement that we ironed out, and y'all have it in our packet, as well as some other fine details we have to figure out. But the bottom line is a public body, the community, Palmetto Health Community Organization has set up and said that we are willing to invest back into our community and invest back into the town of Irmo in this project, and invest in a sizable amount, $120,000, to help us build this new park in the sense that they'll be putting the amphitheater and stage in their name. So I'm excited about the opportunity to do this and accept this this money from the Palmetto Health Systems, and I hope that the council will approve the agreement, and we can go forward and look for other people like Mike Hutchins and the car wash, and Belcino's, if you guys are willing to pony up another check, or Steer Supply, any folks have any extra cash laying around, we'd be more than happy to name other features of the new park after y'all, and we'd be more than happy to take that check also. But just like Palmetto Pride today has given us a check for the children's playground. This is a community playground, this is a community event, a community park, as we just named it, and it's proof in the pudding from this type of agreement. So I want to thank Palmetto Health personally. Anybody who's represented, I see somebody out there from Palmetto Health. Please join me in accepting this money from them for this new park.
Good job.
Anyone else?
I think it's great. That's what we said all along, is that we were looking for buy-in, and we didn't go out looking for it. They came looking to us, and I think that says a lot. And Mr. Walker, I appreciate your courting this and following it to this point.
It's such a
glad to have it.
It's a good amount of money.
It is a big amount of money, and
it kind of sets the standard of what we want from other people. So, you did good.
You might want to consider passing a resolution tonight, accepting it, thanking them, and authorizing Bob and I to complete the formal execution of the document.
So moved.
So moved, I guess.
We need to vote on the approval first, and then direct the preparing the resolution.
Okay. And as far as the contract here, there's, 7 reasonables in here. Can they be worked out to be better clarified what that means?
One of the things I'd like to do, I prepared this contract as what you have in front of you is the bare bones. This is basically what the agreement is. The attorneys for Palmetto Health, from what I understand, are reviewing it and are supposed to be getting back to me with any revisions and clarifications and trying to basically hammer it down to where it is in a signable form. What you have there is basically the beginning of the agreement. The commitment's been made. All we need is just a directive from y'all to finish negotiating the final contract and get it back to you for signature.
And we don't have to vote on this
I don't think
contract.
you vote on that. If you would just authorize us by a vote to continue our negotiations to place the contract in the final form, I can continue working on it.
And you'll be able to either remove or clarify these reasonables to a better define whatever they mean?
Reasonable has are good words, but yes, we're going to try to basically hammer some of that out.
Because I'm sure my reasonable, your reasonable, everybody in here's reasonable could be different time frames.
Have you seen the document?
I haven't seen the one Betsy prepared.
Okay. Is that what's in the packet?
We just got that.
This one doesn't have a date on it, so I'm not sure. It's just a draft.
We've got the draft that came
You'll get the
got
draft,
in at Jake's office.
Okay.
I haven't got anything from Gina. I haven't seen her
No,
copy.
it's down there.
So y'all have one too, maybe? Is what you're saying?
I'm sorry, I'm with Gina Brown.
Yeah. So you're saying y'all have one already made up as well, or?
Well, they got the draft from them, from their
okay.
attorney.
So they got this here.
So Jake has to get together with them to finish out the details.
This looks almost like what I wrote. I mean,
you gotta.
I like this.
You gotta dot the i's and cross the t's, and that's what we are authorizing them to do.
Let us talk, and we'll bring it back for final approval next meeting.
Well, right now we've got an approval, or a motion to approve the agreement. We probably just need to amend that to an approval to direct you and Jake to kind of re-clarify it.
Give us just 1 minute.
Okay, all right.
26,000.
I mean, if her copy is like here, then we probably need to.
I know.
Plain copy, or just approve the draft and say that we need to iron it out.
Well, I don't know if I can approve that with all that, because I don't know if they mean 2 days, 3 days, on some of that stuff, what they mean.
Not what Regina has, I'm sure. She made her own copy up from that'll help.
All right, so what are you saying?
Give them just a second. But the proper thing would be to defer it.
Yeah, we can amend it to that, and then defer that to a final. Yeah.
Let me get with the hospital attorney and make sure everybody's happy, and I think we'll be in a position to recommend signing next council meeting. That's okay.
Okay, and you'll be able to get that to the rest of the council?
Yes. What I have here looks good to me, but just if we can just defer actual signing the next council meeting, that'd be great.
So what we can do is amend their approval to, I think the good thing would be so that they know that we're in agreement with the money, in agreement with the time frame, in agreement with that. But we will defer actual approval of the agreement until next meeting when the draft is done. But in the meantime, we will direct Jake and Bob Brown to I don't say clean up the contract, but to dot the i's, cross the t's, and do that kind of thing. But that we're in agreement to move forward, and with the money and the dollar. Does that sound sense?
And then,
Did you understand that, Kim?
So we're going to defer approval of the agreement.
We're going to defer, we'll need an amendment to defer the approval, and at the same time that we will accept the 120,000, the 10-year terms and all that kind of stuff.
We're going to give the naming rights, so that's...
Yeah, and to give the naming
Okay,
rights
so that's
to
not a
Carmella
problem.
Health for that dollar amount and for that time frame.
All right.
I
think basically what we're doing is approving everything except the signing of the contract.
Right,
To
so
have
let's say
both
that, so
attorneys.
we go forward.
So that would be my motion, is
Yeah,
that we
make that and then
approve it
Kim-
as written, with the exception to signing the final documents to be approved by the two attorneys.
And there will be another thing where they have the big check and all that, right?
I'm sure
Well, it's totally-
Okay.
yeah, so-
Okay. That's,
the
yeah.
council is approving the concept.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're approving the concept, so to speak. Because I mean, there are some things in there as far as reasonable that, to me, I don't want us to spend days in court arguing over whatever reasonable means. Well, we may think it means one thing, and they may think it, and then we're fussing with each other instead of just working it out now. And they can clarify what all that is. So that there isn't a disagreement down the road, no matter what. So did you want to make a motion to that, or did you kind of make it?
My motion was that let me get back to the actual wording here. My motion is that we accept Palmetto Health desire for the naming rights for the for the community park of Irmo. The naming rights with, let's see, how for the
Amphitheater.
yeah, for the amphitheater located in the community park for the sum of $120,000. The final contract to be presented at the next regular council meeting for signature.
I know Kim got all that.
As much as I stumbled, she could have written another paragraph in there.
And is there a second?
Second.
Yeah.
And any discussion? And I think everybody understands the reason we're doing that. We all agree. We just need to get the contract worded and worked out and ready for all of us to agree to that and then sign that. And then they'll do that by the next meeting.
So is this, because we had a motion on the table and then a second for approval of agreement.
And we're amending that, and we'll...
So his motion is to amend.
Yeah, that, to defer this, but accept the dollar and accept the terms and all like that. And defer it until our next meeting. We skipped the first one in September, is
We
that
have the
correct?
next one, August, the 20th of August.
Oh, that's right, yeah, this is 1st of August. Okay. So that'd be until the August 20th meeting. So, all in favor, do so with show of hands. Now we voted on the amendment, and we have to vote on the regular approval, which is to defer it until the 20th with the dollar amounts and the term and everything pretty much staying the same.
So moved. So moved.
Well, yeah. So all in favor? Just do so with show of...
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty, now, my eyes are not good. E, approval of budget amendment in the amount of $26,000 for the orchestra entertainment in conjunction with the 40th anniversary of the festival. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And is there a second? No.
I'll second for discussion.
Been a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, there is. Where did 26,000 come from? What was our deal?
Well, we were trying to, and again, this is before we had a delay in our park.
Yeah, I know.
Was to get some high dollar entertainment, which we've gotten for the new orchestra, for the 40th anniversary orchestra. We have Dilbert and Clinton And Lisa Haley and the Zydecasts are coming, and that's going to cost a significant amount of money, as well as we wanted to advertise significantly this year to make sure this happened, that we had a good attendance, and to show off our new park. So now it looks like we'll have to move our venue, and we're having a little bit of delay in the new park. We still have the commitment to Delvin Clinton and Lisa Haley and the Zydecasts to come out and perform, and it's still a significant amount of money. So I think we need to increase that orchestra budget for the entertainment portion.
Can we
Up to.
negotiate on the amount?
Sure. I'm easy to negotiate.
Okay, will you take 15?
I can live with 15, if that's what you can do.
I was going to ask you the same thing. And knowing that once the park is completed, to be able to handle the heavy items that would be coming in for that festival or any other festival, that we might not want to put all our eggs in one basket right now, and have some of that available to carry on once we can actually put foot in the park.
Well, like again, all this was before we knew with the delays that we weren't going to be able to do that.
Right, and we have no control over the weather.
So, but at the same time, we still have a commitment to bring these people in, and I want to be done right and done with zeal. So I think we need to increase that budget a little bit.
How much was already in the orchestra budget for bands and entertainment?
It was like 17.
17.5.
17.5.
So this band is going to cost,
Delbert,
I'm going to say more than that.
Yeah.
Where did the figure 26,000 come from? Who
out of Barry's head.
totaled it? Who came up with totals on that?
It's going to cost us $30,000 to have Delbert McClinton and Lisa Haley and Zydecasts perform at the orchestra this year. So that's why I came up with that number of $30,000. So we already had 17, so I wanted 26 to make it even over that threshold.
He's willing to negotiate.
Well, 17 and 13, I think, makes 30.
Well, I'm saying I'm willing to negotiate. That's why I asked for 26.
So you're willing to concede to 15?
I'm willing to. Yes, absolutely.
Well, let's amend this.
Yeah, so I don't have a problem. I'll make the amendment if you want me to.
Would you concede down to 12?
That's a little bit tight.
Okay.
I'd be a little more comfortable with 15.
Okay, but Delbert better be good.
Oh, he's going to be good.
It's going to be good. Okay.
Delbert.
15 will give you a little bit of room there.
Right. Absolutely.
So is there a motion for
I'll amend my motion to say not 26,000, but 15.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
And any discussion?
Scott, you happy?
I'm happy. Although I don't know Delbert.
You will.
I will. I will know it. You're right.
So the amendment right now is for 15,000. All in favor, do so with show of hand. And I'll vote on that to amend that.
Okay.
Now we're back to the budget approval. Instead of 26,000, now it's in the amount of 15,000. Any more discussion on that? And all in favor of the the approval of budget amendment in the amount of 15,000, do so with show of hand. All opposed? Next item is new business, first reading of ordinance 1310 to adopt a local hospitality tax on sales of prepared meals and beverages. Is there a motion? No motion. That will fail for lack of a motion. Next item is approval to purchase a 2013 Ford 250 from Big Bailey Ford in the amount of $24,843. Is there a motion?
So moved. Is this Rick's truck?
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
You said it was a nightmare with the old truck. What's wrong with the old trucks? What's happening?
14 years old.
1999.
I mean, what kind of maintenance problems do you have with it? I mean, transmission, engine?
All the time.
It burns a lot of oil. It overheats in the summertime. Air conditioner hadn't worked for years.
It has
The brakes have about had it.
a lot of repair.
It goes on and on.
A lot of them.
Is this 4x4?
Yeah.
So how much is it going for? You can put it on market?
It doesn't have air conditioning.
I know, I can fix that.
We've got a website that probably advertised on like we did the last one, so.
Any more discussion? All in favor to
Wait,
approve?
why Ford, not a Chevrolet?
It's cheaper.
Really?
We just bought a Chevrolet.
But it was cheaper than the Ford.
What about Dodge? I'm just asking questions. I don't know. I mean, y'all look at Dodge?
We've got 4 vehicles and they've done good for us, so. What we're looking for.
Yeah, we got a Chevy Cruiser now, you know, I mean, change is good. I don't know, I was asking questions, why don't we look at it, you know? I want to prove the thing, I just want to know why we don't look at it, that's all.
We've got 2 Fords and the last 2 vehicles we purchased have been Fords and they've been good.
Okay.
A little cheaper than Chevys.
We could keep it in state. Does BMW build a truck? We could get a price from them.
Right?
Any more discussion? All in favor then to approve the purchase of the 2013 Ford 250 from Vic Bailey Ford in the amount of $24,843, do so with show of hand. And next item is the approval to hold the 2013 Oaks Truck Festival on Lake Murray Boulevard with an alternative location of Carlisle Street next to the town park here. And we can take a motion for Lake Murray Boulevard. We can take one for Lake Murray Boulevard and then amend it to Carlisle Street, or we can just do Carlisle Street, whichever anyone would like to do. So is there a motion for approval for the festival location?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the festival location on Carlisle Street, which is right out here via the town, next to town park, with access, I guess, on Mrs. Columbia Avenue and Woodrow Street, possibly closing off those streets.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Well, I think, you know, the thoughts of going back to Lake Murray Boulevard is exciting in one respect from the strut standpoint, but from the business standpoint, it's not a good mix. It's not a good mix for if we be realistic, it's not a good mix for safety, and the police chief has hammered that into us. And we understand that, and just the Orchestra Commission is trying to do a good job to prepare a good festival for the community. Again, it was a community event, and but I think it will be better. We had people like the Carlisle Street thing last year. We just need a little bit more space, being we're going to have some bigger entertainment that we've already committed to, and Ben Tanner hasn't been able to control the weather. And
no sand.
No sand.
I didn't like the sand.
I did an unscientific survey at the farmers market Saturday, and more people liked the beach than didn't.
The sand, really?
Yes.
Oh, I found it.
But anyway, that's all I had to say.
What about a mud pit?
Mud wrestling will be a different venue.
Mud bog.
So any more discussion? So all in favor of approval to hold the orchestra on Carlisle Street this year, do so with show of hands. And next item is approval to close, and I guess now we'll just be looking at closing Carlisle Street, Columbiana Avenue, and then maybe whatever else around there that would need to be done. And I guess the Orchestra Commission can come up with a...
Well, Lexington and Carlisle belong to us, so we don't need permission to close those. We need
No,
permission if
Lexington
we're
is
going to
the one
close
on that side of the park.
Columbia Avenue, we need
Carlisle.
permission.
So we need commission on this one and Woodrow maybe.
And if you want to close Woodrow, you need
Yeah,
permission for that
we
one
need
too.
a small portion of Woodrow.
We would need to know where's Joe at. Yeah, Captain Nates would need to know where you want to close it from point A to point B.
But the Orchestra Commission, do they meet, I think I saw they meet twice this month?
Yeah.
Are they still doing? So
They meet next Monday.
So they could...
And they're kind of waiting on something from us. As far as the distance, I would say unless the Orchestra Commission has a different opinion, from the driveway that goes out of our service area, or gravel driveway, from that point to Lexington Avenue.
We hadn't made a motion yet, have we? Okay. So we need a motion then for closing Carlisle, Columbia, and then that portion there of
Woodrow Street.
Of Woodrow Street.
And the use of the town park.
Yeah, so moved.
So,
Second.
and second?
Second.
Okay.
Thank you.
And any discussion? Team,
Did you make the motion or did Kathy?
Kathy made it,
Kathy
Barry
made a
second.
motion, Barry second.
For Carlisle, Columbia, and that portion of Woodrow Street. And then I guess if they want to do longer or whatever, they can come back next meeting, we can extend it to that.
So Columbia Avenue is going to be the same dimensions last year to the police department up to Woodrow, and then Woodrow from Lexington to right past Mr. Lightner's house.
And I hope we have a nice new park for the orchestra next year.
If it doesn't compact in another 12 months, it's not going to.
It's not going to compact, you're right.
So, excuse me, all in favor then of that motion, do so with show of hands. And next item is presentation by citizens. This is where anyone who wants to address council on any issue, whether it was on the agenda or not on the agenda, may do so at this time. All we ask is that you give us your name and address for the record. Anyone who would like to address council? Seeing none. Next item is executive session. Anything needed? Anyone? No executive session. Next item is adjournment. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
And a second. Second. All in favor? Aye.